Welcome
to episode 154 of Doctor Who Time and Space.
We're back yet again for your weekly instalment of
weekly dose
Who news and gossip and nonsense.
Stuff like that.
Yes. Who are you?
I'm Newsmin. Who are you?
I'm Decool.
I've never seen you before.
No. I've never seen you either, and neither has anyone else because we're just on a podcast.
Well, some people have if you've been on behind the sofa looking.
Well, that is true. Because we do go behind the sofa sometimes.
We do go behind the sofa sometimes.
So, show, what's up?
So it's episode 154 this week.
Okay.
And our main feature is looking at our tips for being a good companion in Who.
Okay.
So our top tips.
We'll also, on the show, we'll be giving our first initial thoughts of the half of the 7-parter Ambassadors of Death.
Well, 4 parts of that story.
Yeah.
Because you can't split 7 into half.
No, indeed.
But,
as near as damn it half.
As near as we possibly kind of can.
Yeah. What else do we have?
We have another round of Who to Face.
And we will be giving you the little amount of news that we have.
We do have some quite big news this
Fairly
week.
Big. Not. It's not lashings of news, but
it's not like the new. It's not the new companion announcement.
No. Alas, not.
Alas, but I mean, it would have been really good if we had it on the time of the top 10 tips.
Yeah, it would. But as we haven't, not a lot we can do about it.
How have you been this week then?
Oh, I've been good actually. Yeah, been very good.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. So we normally just sort of like have a little general chat, don't we, about Who-related things and other Who.
Things.
I mean, Who-wise, what have I done? Only really as per normal. I always let the side down a little bit.
Yes.
I purely watched Ambassadors of Death with you. You've probably done other Who-related things as well, I would imagine.
Not as much. You see, now I don't have any Series 9s to watch. I've finished my Series 9s, and I finished that quite a while ago now.
That was your second viewings, wasn't it?
That was my second viewings. Because I wouldn't have been able to do my review if it was my first viewing. But this week, Who related? I think I watched a bit more of the Ark.
Okay.
The second part of that. I haven't watched much of the Ark.
Is it good or not? Or is it quite hard going?
It's quite good actually.
Yeah.
It's quite an interesting story. It's about Dodo giving the common cold to people who flee the Earth to live a better life.
Oh yeah.
But the common cold can kill people.
Okay, that sounds like the common cold that's going around my office at the moment. That could be the very one. Okay, yeah. So...
And not much other than that.
Yeah, I mean,
I took a trip to Forbidden Planet, by the way, the other day.
Oh yeah, what did you get?
I got a new pop vinyl, the Sarah Jane one. She's quite nifty.
So that was the one you wanted, wasn't it?
Yeah,
really?
with the little dungarees, and she's really cute.
So it's funny that you managed to find that in Southampton, and when we went to the one in London, the bigger one, you wasn't around, was it?
No, but she's a really cool figure, and she's on my shelf of pops now. I've got a big Doctor Who collection of pops. One non-Who related one, but
I'm talking as if I didn't know that you had that, whereas in reality I did know that you had that. It's a really, really good one actually, isn't it? It's probably to me second only.
It might be my favourite one.
I think to me it's second only to the Tom Baker one. But the fact that Sarah's wearing the costume that she was wearing, it's the one that she was wearing at the end of the last episode, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really, really, really good. Yeah.
What have you been doing this week, non-Who related then?
Now, quite a bit actually in terms of viewing stuff. I've watched loads of things this week. I'll try and remember what they all were now. Haven't caught up anymore with my Blake Sevens yet, so I'm still behind on that. Watched a bit of Red Dwarf.
I've watched a bit of Red Dwarf. I've got to Series 3, Episode 1 now.
Yeah, I'm still
completed Series 2 and watched Backwards yesterday.
Yeah, which is Backwards being probably my favourite episode.
It's probably my favourite episode.
But I think it's also probably, to me, Red Dwarf wise, I think Series 3 and possibly Series 4 are the strongest ones.
Okay.
I think. Walking Dead with its shocking ending.
Oh, yeah. I don't watch Walking Dead because I'm too young, but sounded exciting.
Yeah, so there's that one. And I've started watching Fear the Walking Dead as well, which is a sort of prelude to the Walking Dead series and tells you a bit about how the virus started and everything. And I know that wasn't as popular as the main series, but actually the 3 that I've watched so far...
Did you watch them all in one night?
I watched them in 2 nights.
Okay.
I watched 1 episode and then last night I watched 2.
Okay. Are they an hour long? Or
Yeah, about an hour. I think the first one might have been a bit longer.
Are they the same length as Walking Dead?
I think so, yeah. I think they are.
Have you watched any more Game of Thrones?
I haven't yet,
You've got like 2.5 series to watch.
And yeah. Although I have seen them before, haven't I? So I was only really watching them again. There's not enough hours in the day. I've still got all of the Daredevil season to watch.
If you catch
up Sherlock to watch.
Have you caught up on Vinyl?
Oh, actually, I'm 1 episode behind on Vinyl as well. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so I haven't caught this week. It threw me this time because I'd normally watch Walking Dead and Vinyl on a Monday night. So what I'd usually do, watch Walking Dead, then I'd watch the Emergency Awesome video to hear what the thoughts were on
Everyone loves Emergency Awesome.
And then after that, I'd then watch Vinyl one. But because it was like a longer version of Walking Dead, because it was the finale of that season, I didn't get time. Until you mentioned it then, I'd completely forgotten that I hadn't caught up. Because I like Vinyl, but...
Yeah, all of that you've got to watch.
Yeah, okay. So that's my evening sorted then.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, that's probably the main things for me, I think, really.
Yeah.
Can't think of anything else to
I haven't really watched much this week. I've been out for most of the week, really. I've not really been doing anything. I haven't even done much Who related. I haven't done much anything related. I haven't really been watching too much.
Yeah.
Necessarily.
Yeah, no, that's right.
But maybe this week I'll start watching some things again.
You've got a few to watch now, haven't you? Because you've got these various black and white ones. Although I guess a lot of those you bought for completionist reasons, didn't you? More than anything, because you'd seen them already.
Yeah.
So it's more that you bought them whilst you saw them, and hopefully they'll come up on the randomizer at some point.
Hopefully.
But not today, because there's no randomizer
today. Because we're taking a break from the randomizer. Anything else you've got Who related or non-Who related?
I don't think so. I think that's the main things of what I was on with. So we crack on with the news if you want.
Yeah, okay.
If you're ready with it. So what? Going back to the main context of this show, which is that it's a Who related podcast, and people don't necessarily want to hear me waffling on about Game of Thrones and Walking Dead.
Even though a lot of people are fans of both.
Yep. So the main big news this week.
It's the main cast have been announced for a new spin-off series, Class.
Okay.
So the BBC has announced the cast for the new Doctor Who spin-off at Class as the series begins filming today. The 8-part series,
the 4th of April, isn't it?
Oh yeah, 4th of April.
Start filming on the 4th of April.
Because I'm reading this article and the 8-part series will feature young new talents. Greg Austin, which we talked about last week. We said there was a rumor that he was going to be in it, and he's actually in it.
Okay. Did we know who he was? Did I know who he was?
Mr. Selfridge star Greg Austin. I don't know who he is. You don't know who he is.
Yeah.
We don't know who he is. Fadi Al-Said, I guess that's the that woman there.
Yeah.
Sophie Hopkins and Vivian Opara.
Yeah.
And they will take place. They will be joined by Catherine Kelly as she takes the role of a teacher and powerful new presence at Coal Hill School. So Coal Hill School has been in Doctor Who for a long time.
Yep.
Since the first episode. Yep. What do you think of the cast announcement?
I mean, I've no idea who any of them are, which is so I don't mean that in any way derogatory to any of those actors and actresses, because I don't watch enough things with young actors and actresses in it to know anything about them.
I don't really think they've been in much. I think Catherine Kelly's been in a lot.
Okay, yeah.
She's quite famous.
Do we know anything? I mean, is there any sort of like hints at what it's going to be about? Have we got any sort of like taglines or synopsis or anything like that?
We have here. So the So it says, like all sixth formers, these Coal Hill School students have been facing hidden secrets and desires. They're facing their own worst fears, navigating a life of friends, parents, schoolwork, sex, sorrow, and possibly the end of existence. The Coal Hill School has been part of the universe since the very first episode, but that has come at a price. All the time travelling over the years has caused the very walls of space and time to become thin. There's something pressing in on the other side, something waiting for its chance to kill everyone and everything, to bring us all into shadow. Fear is coming, tragedy is coming, war is coming, prepare yourself, class is coming.
So we've got a little thing here as well. It says, time has looked at your faces now, and time never forgets. What if your planet was massacred and you were the sole survivor? What if a legendary figure out of space and time found you a place to hide? But what if the things that want to kill you have tracked you down? And worst of all, what if you haven't studied for your A-levels?
Maybe Pete Capaldi's going to be the narrator or something.
Could be, yeah. How would that sound?
Time has never looked at your faces now, and time never forgets. What if your planet was massacred and you were the sole survivor? What if a legendary figure out of space and time found you a place to hide? But what if the things that want to kill you have tracked you down? And worst of all, what if you haven't studied for your A-levels?
Oh, that's great. What do you reckon to this? I'm intrigued to see what it's going to be like. I'm a little bit nervous about it.
Me too. I think we can either get a really pleasant surprise,
Yep,
or we can be proved right, and it's not really too special. I mean, it's one of the only Who-related things we've got this year, so I suppose we have to treasure it.
Yeah.
And wonder if when it happens, do you think we should just do like a sum-up review at the end of the series, and instead of reviewing every episode individually?
I think probably what we'll do is, as a part of the news catch-up, just have a quick run through it.
Yeah.
And then, if it's something where we find that
and then
actually,
as the main feature in the final episode, we'll have like a sum-up of everything.
But we don't know yet, do we, whether or not it's going to be a series. Do we know how many parts there are? Or anything? 8 parts.
45 minutes.
Okay, so 8 45 minutes parts. We don't know whether each 45 minutes is going to be a story in its own right, or whether it's going to be a series with one story running through it.
I mean, which
I think may dictate possibly how we look at it. I think if it's individual stories, then we may find that we talk about each story and then do a wrap up of the season at the end.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued by Class. I mean, Shadow. Is the villain, it looks like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I get the feeling from reading that it's going to be a continuing story.
Yeah.
It's going to be an 8-part continuing story.
Yeah, I think so.
But I mean,
first episode will be a setup, and then the rest will be like an ongoing.
I mean, we may be wrong on that, mightn't we? I mean, if you take some of the other sort of young adult sort of things like the one you like, Wolfblood and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's got a sort of continuing story, but it's separate stories in its own right, isn't it? So who knows? But I don't know. I think the reason I'm nervous about it is just that whole kids in the school sort of thing, and I don't know, it's a little bit cliche to a certain extent.
Well, it's going to be older kids, so it's not going to be too bad. It's going to be around the age of Courtney, I suppose.
Yeah, but I don't know.
It will be interesting.
Yeah. It's not the spin-off I would have chosen.
No, I would have chosen something like. We'll talk about that in a future article.
Yeah, Astrida and Clara flying around space.
Yeah, I mean, I hope like William Russell gets to be in it as a very quick cameo. He's getting older, nice. But
yeah, that would be nice. I do think actually they missed the one thing they missed really with the 50th anniversary was it would have been nice to have had Ian as a cameo.
Yeah,
wouldn't it? That would have been a nice thing. But
we had Tom Baker.
We did. Yeah. So there we have it. So fear is coming, tragedy is coming, war is coming, prepare yourselves, class is coming.
And we'll keep you updated with all of the class news.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys have any thoughts about what's happened in what's happened news-wise in class so far,
Yeah.
then let us know.
Yeah, no, that's right. So
I mean-
it sounds interesting anyway, doesn't it? So, there's a quote here from Stephen Moffat on Class as well.
Yeah, he's an executive producer of Class.
Yeah.
So
did you want to read that out, or shall I?
you can if you
Okay.
want.
So it says, there's nothing more exciting than meeting stars that nobody's heard of yet. We had the read through of the first few episodes last week, and there was a whole row of them. Coal Hill School has been part of Doctor Who since the very first shoot in 1963, but this new show is anything but history. Class is dark and sexy and right now. I've always wondered if there could be a British Buffy, and it's taken the brilliant Patrick Ness to figure out how to make it happen. I mean, that's quite promising. I mean, not that I was ever a particularly big fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but I think that's probably a good if they want to do something which is going to be quite successful, that's a good comparator.
But you see, Stephen Moffat will always say something good to make you want to watch it.
Well, there is that, yeah, there is that. So the other thing we know about Class is that it's going to be premiering at least on BBC Three, which means
that's online.
So it's presumably going to be online only. What we don't know, and I think we talked about this a few weeks back, we don't know whether they're going to drop all the episodes in one, or whether they're going to drip feed it.
I think that we talked about that when Peter Capaldi was rumored to be in.
Yeah. Because we couldn't decide what our preference was for it, could we?
What do you mean?
Whether it's better if it all drops at once, or whether it's one week in.
What do you think?
I've become a real fan of binge watching things, because I've got to the stage now where when I watch, if I use the current example of Walking Dead, it gets to the end of it and I want to put the next one on. With Fear the Walking Dead, last night I watched the end of one, and I still had time, so I thought I'm going to watch the next one as well.
Well, if it's one ongoing story, then I would like it to be dropped in one. If it's separate stories, it should be dropped weekly.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. Yeah. Okay, that's a good bit of news, that actually, isn't it?
Okay, interesting. Not the companion news we were hoping, but something I did not expect this week. Yeah, actually,
I'm sure it won't be too long till we get the companion news. I don't think, but
I think they're filming in May.
Yeah,
they're starting filming in May, so I think they will announce a companion news soon.
Okay.
I've got to find my my other bit of news quickly. Another bit of news for you guys.
Yep. So whilst you do that, did it say on there when? I think it did, and I think you said it, and I've just forgotten it. When did they say that Class was going to be coming out? October, was it?
October. Where did it say it? This year.
Oh, so we don't fully know.
It's in this autumn, I think. Right, it says.
Yeah. It would make sense to me if they dropped it around the same sort of time as normally there's a Doctor Who series.
Yeah. So
it's going to be an interesting one to see how it goes down, because I think immediately you will have a lot of Who fans that will want to watch it, and what people have got to remember is that there's a target audience for this, and it's young adult.
Yes.
And it's not going to be sort of cutting edge, gripping adult drama. It's going to be a drama for young adults.
Yes. So, there's going to be an age target for it. Yeah. So some people will like it, and maybe it will be a mixed opinion. Yeah. Maybe it will be terrible, and if it's terrible, I'll just watch the first episode and then give up. But
I think, what we have got to remember as well, though, is that Sarah Jane was obviously very much targeted at kids, basically, and that was actually really good.
It was really good. So,
you could tell it was targeted at kids. There were things that if it had been in the main show, they would have done differently. Yeah. Having said that, you had villains like the Trickster in it, which are probably as creepy as anything you ever had in Who.
Trickster was a great villain.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't used it in Who. They mentioned it in Who because they had one of its alliance thing.
Yes. And they showed the picture really quickly, I think, didn't they, in Time Heist?
Oh, yeah. They had a lot of pictures there.
Yeah. So, other further news.
So, Peter Capaldi has given us some further insight into the new Doctor Who companion, building on some comments he made last month about what we can expect from Clara Oswald's successor. And if there was any doubt, it certainly is she. I think the companion has to be someone who's not so impressed by the Doctor. She's not an assistant. She's not a servant. She can't be that. She has to be someone who really says, "Are you sure that's the right thing to do? What are you doing?" And also doesn't take him seriously. Do you think it'll be more of a backseat companion?
Maybe.
ASCII companion.
More of a sort of Martha type companion.
Hopefully. Capaldi told Mexican blogger La Lata when asked what he was looking for from Jenna Coleman's replacement. We know from earlier interviews that have come out of Capaldi's recent tour of Mexico that the new companion has already been cast and that we can expect a very different sort of take on the role following Coleman's departure. And Capaldi's latest comments would seem to fit with the idea he's already put forward of a more down-to-earth character. Clara had prior knowledge of the Doctor. It was conceived as a human connected to your timeline, and so had access to the cosmic nature of the Doctor. She understood a little about how he was, and as she was already with 11th Doctor Matt Smith, she knew the Daleks in the TARDIS. Now we have someone who knows very little about the Doctor.
Interesting.
So a companion, we're building up a picture of a companion who's unimpressed with the Time Lord and is unlikely to put up with any posturing or sense of self-importance from him.
I mean, we'll come on to a bit more around that discussion probably when we talk in the main feature about what makes a good companion.
Yeah,
that's interesting. I'm sure we must be pretty close to getting
hopefully.
some form
I mean, we've had lots of teasers of what the companion's going to be like.
Yeah, indeed. Okay. So, do we have other news as well?
Yeah. Big Finish news now.
Okay.
This summer, John Barrowman and Gareth David Lloyd are together again in the penultimate instalment of Torchwood Series 2.
Ooh.
Based on the beloved Doctor Who spin-off created by Russell T Davies, Big Finish's range of Torchwood audios continue the legacy of Earth's greatest defenders, with new stories set in and around the original TV show. The penultimate instalment of Torchwood Series 2, Broken, by Joseph Lidser, delves into the life of loyal Torchwood administrator Ianto Jones. Taking place soon after the terrible events of Cyberwoman, the new story delves into Ianto's complicated relationship with team leader Captain Jack Harkness. And they're actually gay.
Yes.
Yes,
indeed. Cool.
So, starring John Barrowman, Gareth David Lloyd, Melanie Walters, Ayery Thomas, and Ross Ford. So, that will air in July, I think, and Torchwood Audio Series 2 will air in August.
Brilliant.
But we don't know what's going to... Because we've already had Susie Costello, and Nyakaro Mori from coming back into it for this series of audios. We've had more people from previous series like Gwen.
Yeah.
But
I don't really know too much about Torchwood at all, really.
No.
So, and when you're a bit older, I guess we'll sit down and watch some of those as well.
We will.
Yeah. So, in fact, when that happens, assuming this podcast is still going, which I'm sure it will. I mean, we've done 100 and whatever already.
154.
Yeah. So I'm sure we'll be still going and
probably we will
do a long running series of Torchwood specials, maybe.
Yes, maybe.
Yeah. Who knows?
That would take a long time.
How many series did they make of it?
4.
It's 4 series, right? Okay. Yeah. So it will take a while.
Wait.
Ooh.
Yeah, 4.
Okay.
I thought it was 5, but They said they might do a fifth series. I don't know whether they confirmed they aren't going to. Don't know whether they're going to do a third series of Torchwood Audios.
Yeah.
Don't know if they're popular or not.
Really. No, that's right.
So, you know.
I think the Big Finish clan are a very dedicated sort, so I'm sure they support it nicely. So, keeping up with the news.
So BBC Books have released details on next month's novel featuring the 10th Doctor and Donna, In the Blood, the latest to be written by Jenny T. Colgan. So the synopsis is, all over the world, people are venting their fury at one another on social media, dropping their friends, giving vent to their hatred, and everyone behaving with incredible cruelty. Even Donna has found that a friend, Hetty, with her seemingly perfect life and fancy house, has unfriended her, and now all over the world, internet trolls are dying. As more and more people give in to this wave of bitterness and aggression, it's clear that this is no simple case of modern living. This is unkindness as a plague. From the streets of London to the web of cafes of South Korea and the deepest, darkest forests of Rio, can the Doctor and Donna find the cause of this unhappiness before it's too late? So this is by Jenny T. Colgan, and it's featuring the 10th Doctor and Donna.
I like the context of that, because I mean, sort of growing up in going into, I should say, the cyber age. One of the things that really does bug me is all the trolling on websites. You know, the fact that somebody can't put a video onto YouTube without somebody feeling they have to put a really horrible derogatory comment on it.
I know.
And in reality, there's no need for it.
No.
Even if something doesn't really impress you, just pass it by. There's no
like
need
disliking.
Yeah. So it's just, I don't know. To me, it's just faceless, and it's.
I think they should get rid of disliking on YouTube. It's quite.
It's harsh, isn't it?
It's quite harsh. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
Keep liking, but disliking's just really.
Yeah, I know. It's harsh, and the same with when you get comments on the newspaper sites and things like that, and people are just really horrible sometimes.
I know.
And it's only purely because they can be, because they feel faceless. They feel that nobody, they wouldn't go up, or most people wouldn't go up to somebody in the street and say what they say underneath an article or underneath a video or something.
Yeah.
So there we are. That's my little sort of moan for the week. This week's moan of the week.
This week's moan of the week. Dun, 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 dun.
Join us again next week for another moan of the week.
This week's moan of the week. Dun, dun.
So, do we have any further news?
No, we don't actually. Not this week.
In that
That's
case,
it from media and normal news.
Let's have this week's second moan of the week.
Dun,
This
dun,
week's
dun,
second
dun,
moan of
dun,
the
dun,
week.
dun, 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 dun,
So,
dun,
what's our
dun,
main
dun.
article this week?
So
Of a non-moaning kind.
So last year, Jenna Coleman left the show.
Yep.
As Clara, and now the search is on, and they found the new companion, but it has not been announced to us yet.
Yeah.
We have it's been promised to us that it will be announced very soon.
Yep.
But it hasn't yet. But we are going to talk about what we think we need, what the new companion could bring us.
Okay. So,
Top tip.
As a starting point, I think companions fall into a number of categories, don't they?
Yes.
So you've got the screamy, help sort of characters, which is sort of like the sort of Mals of this world, the Victoria maybe.
Yeah.
Certainly a lot of the classic Who ones.
Yeah.
Wins that sort of.
The 3/4 of the classic Who companions.
You then, and some of these cross over as well. You then have the independent woman sort of characters, the sort of the Rose, the Ace. You've got the brain box ones.
Yeah.
So people of a sort of trying to think who. Well, certainly
Liz.
Liz is definitely fits into that category to a slightly less degree. Probably Zoe.
Yes.
She's still a bit screamy
Any
at
New
times.
Who ones that are like? There's not really any clever New Who ones.
Not really. I mean, in fact, you're quite the opposite. You're Donna, who was a thickie, wasn't she? the thicky ones.
Well,
She was just like a normal.
If you
person.
met Catherine Tate,
Yeah.
and she said, "Can I listen back to some of your podcasts?" She'll turn down the chance, you know.
She would do, yeah. But
would you meet her?
I would, but it'd be no different. I mean, if I was to get a bit off topic here, but if I was talking to David Tennant and I had to be honest about it, I would have to say that I didn't like his or if he'd heard and he said, "Yeah, you don't like my Doctor," I would have to sort of say that that's no reflection on him as an actor, because I do really like him in other things. I just don't like that particular portrayal of the Doctor. Although, to be fair, if I was doing it on Catherine Tate, I don't like Catherine Tate's anything. So it would make it quite an uncomfortable position to be in. But so that's that.
Oh, it's a really interface.
But no, so I think with the companions, I think you've also got a big difference between generally the classic Who companions and the new Who companions, because try that there. Sorry.
No, it's this one.
These days, as we've said on a number of occasions before, with the new Who stuff, probably because a lot of it being just through that whole thing of women characters being a lot stronger these days in television, that they felt the need to really make the companion a fairly dominant story-driven character as well.
Yeah, I mean, for example, let's take Clara. Let's take Amy.
Yep.
It's a point I talked about on Behind the Sofa earlier, that every story seems to be centered around them in some way. It ends up being about them.
Yeah. Do you like that or not?
If it can work well. I don't like it at the end, because sometimes there's need for another storyline and they have to center it around Clara or Amy or someone.
Yeah. I guess I know we've said this before on the podcast, we're sort of covering over old ground to a certain extent, but if you were to look at the New Who period, probably the only one out of all of the New Who companions that didn't really have any form of side story superpower would be Martha, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Aside from that, I mean, even Donna had the whole Donna Doctor thing.
Yeah.
You know, Rose at the Babel stuff. I mean, we could go on about all of them.
Clara had the impossible one.
Yeah. What do you think then makes a good companion? What are the attributes that make a companion work or not work?
So I think a companion needs to be quite strong to travel with the Doctor. They need to be able to cope, really, as a character. The acting needs to be good. That's a key point. The acting needs to be strong, because if the second main character is a really bad actor or actress, then we've got no hope. So
I think there's a slight variation on that as well, which is not only does the actor have to be a strong actor or actress, but they also have to click with the Doctor.
Yeah.
So if I use as an example, I think that whilst Jenna Coleman was okay with Matt Smith, she worked far better with Peter Capaldi.
She did, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Clara's character improved with Peter Capaldi.
Yeah. Whereas I think Karen Gillan worked really, really well with Matt Smith, and I can't imagine her as Capaldi's companion.
No, that would be weird.
Yeah. It wouldn't work. And it's odd, really, because in many ways Clara's companion was fairly flirtatious with Matt Smith, but Amy's sort of Karen Gillan's portrayal of the flirtatious companion probably worked better than Jen's.
Yeah.
And she just sort of worked far better, I think, with that flirtatious bit removed. I mean, if we go through the companions from the early ages, we've said before, haven't we, that generally most of them were fairly screamy.
There were, for example, Susan. Barbara,
Yeah.
quite screamy. Vicky, quite weak.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to go through everyone.
No, but then, and we're going to cross over a little bit to the episode we watched today, which we'll come back to later. But if you then take it into John Pertwee's first season,
with Liz,
and Liz was actually quite strong, wasn't it?
She
might
was.
have had the
She
occasional
was
little screamy bit, but
she was quite smart as well.
yeah, and it was quite a refreshing change for companion, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, I mean Zoe, we'd seen the previous companion was quite smart, but she was also quite screamy and weak.
Yeah.
But Liz is quite a strong companion, really.
Yeah.
For the 70s.
What do you think? I mean, when you get on after that, and you've obviously got Joe, and then moving on to Sarah Jane, probably the most important companion.
Sarah Jane, I think, is a very strong character as well.
But she could still be quite screamy, couldn't she?
She could still be quite screamy, but I still think she was stronger than those of the 60s, and you know.
Yeah, but I think she probably was a little bit more of a sort of standing up for herself sort of character, wasn't she? And that's one of the reasons that worked. So I don't think she was necessarily that brave. I think she got braver as time went on, and by the time she had her own adventures years later.
Yeah.
Back in those early days, I think she had a certain screaminess about her.
She did.
But she was also quite stubborn.
Yeah.
I would say.
What about the companions after Sarah Jane in Classic Who? I mean, you've got Leela. She's quite a strong character.
Yeah, literally, wasn't she? She was physically quite strong. She was fairly primal. I really like that. That's the sort of companion I would like to go back to.
Yeah. Just
as a one-off, you know. I don't think we're going to get it by the sounds of it.
No.
From that description earlier on. I think we're probably more likely to get. But I should perhaps say that. Well, I'll ask you that here. From that description that Capaldi gave earlier on for the new companion, who does that remind you of from times gone by? Is there any companion that jumps out?
Does it remind you of someone?
Maybe Ace.
Yeah.
Because
she's quite a strong character.
She's quite strong, but I don't think she necessarily was really overawed by the Doctor. Do you?
No.
Don't know. I mean, Ace is another sort of example of the sort of companion I think they're likely to bring back at some point, because she's a very strong-minded.
Like Leela, really.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, it was a little bit
like
more,
with the sonic cricket bat and everything.
A more human version of Leela, wasn't she? Really.
Baseball bat. Sorry.
They sort of basically had her as portraying a character like Leela, which was fairly feisty, but one that understood human nature because she was a human, whereas Leela
was a savage.
Yeah,
part of the Sever team.
Yeah. Do you think? I mean, obviously, from that Capaldi interview, we know that it's going to be a woman again.
Yeah.
Do you think a male companion works?
Only if there was a female Doctor. I'd like a male character on the side.
Yeah.
If there was a female companion. I think a female companion works with a male Doctor.
Yeah.
And if they ever did a female Doctor, they need to put a man.
Yeah.
Companion.
Yeah, I mean, it works quite well when you get a male and a female, doesn't it? So, I mean, that's happened a few times,
Amy and Rory, Mickey and Rose, Ian and Barbara,
even back
Polly and Ben.
Tegan and Turlough.
Yeah.
You know, Jamie and Zoe, you know, it's worked. That's worked quite well, hasn't it? Yeah. But it can be a bit, certainly in the old days, I guess it was probably fairly stereotypical, wasn't it? Is that the stronger one would always be the man.
Yeah.
And the girl would be the screamy one. That changed a little bit perhaps with Amy and Rory, didn't it? Where these roles were reversed. Rory was the coward.
As well as Mickey, really.
Actually, you're right. That was quite a reversed one, wasn't it?
Until later on, I suppose, in the last story, when Mickey became the strong guy.
But most early on, he was a bit of a coward, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you want to see? What?
Well, should I give another tip?
Yeah.
what we need. The companion, the characteristics, they need to be likable for the audience. Someone who the audience can like, and also a companion that people can relate to, really.
I think the latter one, probably. I'm not so sure about the first one. Do they have to like them?
They can be likable in characteristics. That's what I mean. I mean, they can't be like a rubbish character.
Oh, no.
That's what I mean.
I was trying to think of somebody like Turlo, for instance, where can you say you like his character? I mean, it worked really well, I think.
Yeah.
And sorry, you do like his character, but you wouldn't necessarily invite him out for a drink, would you? I mean, it wasn't a particularly pleasant sort of character.
No, but they need to relate. You need to relate to them.
Yeah.
I think they need to be a relatable companion, because I think they need to be a human or some sort of humanoid, not necessarily a robot dog like K9.
Yeah.
Because you can't relate to that.
No, indeed, and that's why it worked for a certain period of time, but you couldn't keep a K9 sort of character forever, could you?
Yeah, and you couldn't have K9 on his own, really.
No. What about if you take a character like Adric?
Yeah.
Why do you think that didn't necessarily fully work? Why do you
think he was too boring and annoying, really? I don't like him. I don't think he's a very likable character, really. I don't think he's exciting or anything. I don't think he's a good character. I think he fails to most of the things.
Yeah.
Maybe relate to him. Not really, but you can't really relate to Adric because he's really clever, and not many people are really clever, and he's an alien and stuff. But
I wouldn't say that. I mean, it's not one where
he doesn't tick most of the boxes.
But it's not necessarily. I mean, it's not the actor's sort of fault.
No, it isn't.
I mean, he played the part fine, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
It's just, I know. It's not a particularly likable sort of part.
But no, it doesn't tick most of the boxes.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, another interesting one. When you see these polls of most popular companions, certainly with the New Who stuff, Donna always seems to come out top of the pile.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned earlier on, certainly that wouldn't be the case for me.
No.
What I would say, though, is she played that part quite well.
She did. And you could relate to Donna very... And lots of people say, which companion do you most relate to on the fan show?
Yeah.
Question thing. And they say Donna.
Yeah, because she was fairly normal, wasn't she? She was just there having a laugh. The Doctor was having a laugh as well. And that's why I don't like it, because to me, they were too similar. How would you think a character like Donna would work with Peter Capaldi's Doctor? Would it work or not? I think it would have made her less annoying.
I would have done, yeah, because it would make her character a bit more, it would make it a bit more interesting. It would be a really interesting dynamic, actually.
Yeah, it would.
Bring Donna back for one episode.
Yeah.
With Peter Capaldi.
I think it would be quite different. I wouldn't have wanted to have seen her with Matt Smith, because I think that would have also been too, that would have been too sort of slapstick. But with somebody like Capaldi, it may have taken a bit of edge off of him, and it just seemed a little bit sort of, well, hey, let's go down the pub with David Tennant and Donna. What else have you got to add to this conversation? Anything else, really?
I don't think so, really.
No?
I just think we've summed up, they need to be relatable.
Yep.
They need to be a good character.
Yep.
They need to be quite a strong character.
Yep.
They need to be skillful. And they need to be quite smart as well, I think.
Yeah.
Not too smart. I mean, they need to be able to cope with all of this.
Do you think there is a right length of time for a companion? I mean, would you say that, say, Clara outstayed her welcome, or would you say Sarah Jane outstayed her welcome?
What do you mean?
I mean, is there sort of like, whilst the Doctor can carry on for a long time and it's fine because he's a long running character, do you feel that with the companion, a lot of them only actually had one series?
Yeah.
Do you think that's right for companion, or do you think it's better when they go on into a couple of series so you really get to know them more?
I think you need to get to know the companion really.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, definitely if they have a lot of story, if they're a very interesting character, I think yes.
Yeah.
Strong or interesting character. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that probably wraps up that particular segment of the show, doesn't it? I think we can crack on with our very brief initial thoughts on the Ambassadors of Death, which is we've not watched the whole of it yet because
We've
it's a
only
7-parter.
watched the first 4 parts.
Yeah, but it came up in last week's randomizer,
and we'll give you a full summary of what we thought next week on the show in our review section. So
I won't even sort of go through too much of the plot, but I mean it's effectively based around UNIT providing security for a space program where they're trying to recover the astronauts of a missing probe to Mars, and they've lost contact with them. It's been a sort of a bit of a mystery within Earth for sort of 8 months or so. They make contact with them when they hear this real piercing sort of noise which goes right through all of their ears. The Doctor immediately sort of starts to think that there's somebody trying to sort of communicate with them, and when UNIT try and investigate a little bit, when they're trying to sort of decipher this message, they get attacked, and there's a sort of gun battle between them and this other sort of set of soldiers.
Yeah,
that's probably enough, I think, as a bit of a starting point.
Yeah.
Then we've seen it on a little bit further than that, and the probe is recovered. The astronauts aren't there, but there seems to be this sort of thing with these sort of aliens that rely on radiation to keep them alive.
I mean, I think you've been, from what I've heard, whilst you've been watching it, it looks like you're really enjoying this one.
I am, very much so, actually. I wouldn't necessarily say it was one that I would have picked, but actually, I like the pace on it. It's very slow. It's a lot slower, certainly, than some of the other Jon Pertwee ones that we've seen. But I actually really like it.
It is a very interesting and very different story.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a lot better than I can remember it, really. I mean, it's still my least favourite from that series 7, but it shows how good a series Jon Pertwee's first series was, because it had Spearhead from Space, great episode, Doctor and the Silurians, great episode, Ambassadors of Death, great episode, Inferno, great episode.
Yeah. I tell you, the other thing it really did to me, I mean, when we, going back a year, 2 years, I can't remember when it was we did it, we had a go at listing our companions, our favourite companions from best.
That was just before Series 9, I think.
Was it as recent as that, was
it?
Okay. And we went from worst to best.
Episode 121, we're on 14.
How do you remember these
154
numbers?
I don't know. I just remember it.
Yeah.
I think it was 121.
Now, I would imagine, and I've not gone back and looked at that list again, but I would imagine Liz would be somewhere near the bottom of mine. Although I probably would have said at the time I hadn't really seen too much of her.
You hadn't seen any of her.
Yeah. No, I'd only seen probably clips and stuff. I'm really impressed with Liz as a companion.
Yeah.
She's intelligent, and she's quite different, as we said in that last item, than everything that they'd had up until this point. I think Jon Pertwee's Doctor is really good in it. It's always nice to see UNIT in action, and it's got, you're not really sure any of the characters that are in it, which ones you should be trusted and which ones you shouldn't be.
And
trusted.
I really like things like that.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it is, but there's another Jon Pertwee story like that, and I can't really think what it is now.
You got it to a certain extent with Colony in Space, actually, I think.
Might be
characters
that.
to it we're not sure about. So there we have it. I mean, the quality of the actual episode itself, it's one where they've obviously tried to put it back together again after the BBC doing what they do. So some of it's in colour, some of it's in black and white, isn't it? But that doesn't bother me. It's still really, really good. What else was I going to say about it? I mean, sometimes with some of these longer parter episodes, Colony in Space probably being a good example, even though I really like it, you could argue that it's one episode too many, but I've not found that at the moment with this one. It may be that the one episode too many is yet to come.
I've got a feeling it is, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might just be that it's slow, and I think it might have. I might have thought the pace it was too slow, and that I would have reduced it apart to make it a bit quicker. That was when I was younger, probably.
But I'm really enjoying the pace of it. I'll tell you the other thing I've really enjoyed on it. The cliffhangers have been really good.
But very abrupt.
They've been very abrupt, but yeah, they've been very, very abrupt actually. But they've been quite exciting cliffhangers.
They have, definitely the last two.
Yeah.
With the ambassador and the what other one was it?
You had the one with Liz where she's being pursued by.
Don't read that, by the way.
Okay, they're being pursued by the other soldiers, and she sort of like tips over to go into the water.
Oh yeah. That's...
So that was quite good. Yeah, I mean, all in all, looking forward for watching the next. How many parts we've got left?
3.
3 more parts to go, haven't we?
3.
Looking forward for it, and we'll watch that sort of mixture next week and Wednesday and Saturday, and we'll be chatting about it this time next week. So,
with the full roundup of all 7 episodes.
Indeed, yeah. So, are we ready to go on to the final part of this week's show?
Yes, we are.
Or was there anything else you wanted to say about Ambassadors of Death?
I don't think so. Can I delete that page so you don't read any spoilers?
Okay.
There you go.
So, Who to Face. Do you want to explain a bit about what Who to Face is?
Who to Face is a sort of it's like the randomizer. We have a random villain and we have a random doctor, and it chooses a doctor and a monster for us, and we have to think of a story about it.
Okay, so we do it here and then. We will press the button in a second. So there's no pre-thinking about it, which you can probably tell when you listen back to our stories because they're probably a bit rubbish.
I'm going first today.
You're going first. Okay. So should we press the button and see what doc and which villain we get? So, okay. Interesting. That is an interesting one actually because we've got the same villain as what we had a few weeks ago. No, we haven't. No, we've got a different one. No, I'm getting muddled up with the M's.
No.
So what have we got?
We've got the Macra with the War Doctor.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
War Doctor. Okay. So this one is going to be called The Sirens of War.
Okay. Yeah.
So basically the Doctor has found out that his TARDIS is like broken. It's got like this its circuits won't move. It's jammed. It's something's jammed it. So trying to get away from the war, he tries to fix the TARDIS again because he tries to flee basically.
Yeah.
As he's about to be killed by Daleks. But he finds that somehow he's thrown into the time vortex, but he thinks, how come I'm in the time vortex when my circuits are broken? And he finds out that there's this claw attached to the TARDIS, and it's the Macra. So he's thrown through the time vortex into this sort of into this other Gallifrey, where it's like not another Gallifrey. I changed my mind there. It's like a big Buddhist center, but a whole planet, like a church planet.
Yeah.
And the Macra show the Doctor the peace before the Time War and the peace after the Time War, and nothingness in between. And but then the Doctor finds out that the Macra have sat him down and put him, and the person who's like the leader of this planet is putting the mind control thing on him, and they find out that this leader is in league with the Macra, and the Macra is the Macra is feasting on his mind, harvesting on his mind to fuel energy for a new planet. New resources on their new planet. It's a bit of a scruffy story.
No, I like it. It's good, and particularly good since it's your first up, and it's always tricky.
It is always hard on who to face when.
Yeah. Okay, so War Doctor and the Macra. I think my episode is going to be called Inside. Okay, and the starting point of this one is that there's a big fight going on as part of the war.
Yeah.
Very large. So basically, this is based in a village in the mountains. Okay. And as part of but basically what happens is that the whole of this village is destroyed in this attack, and it crumbles down all of the villages, and there's obviously people screaming, shouting, blah blah blah. And as the sides of this mountain collapse, this large fossilized creature, like it's really huge, not sort of dinosaur size, but huge worm fossil sort of collapses into the ground.
Yeah.
And the Doctor's like really intrigued by this. He's not seen this species before. And when he goes and investigates it, he realizes that this creature, whilst it's fossilized, it's still alive.
Ooh.
So it's sort of pumping away. It's alive, but it isn't alive. So there's something living inside it. So they sort of chisel away at this sort of this fossil. And he's got with him this companion, a sort of one-off companion called Lucy Owl.
Okay.
And she's a scientist, very clever girl.
Like Liz.
And she says, actually, I think this creature is dead, but it lives. And the Doctor says something like, I think I will need to go in and investigate this. So he basically decides to actually enter the insides of this large creature to explore what is keeping it alive and what it is in more detail. So him and Lucy go inside this creature. And inside, whilst the monster itself is dead, there's loads of living Macra, and they've been using it to basically keep themselves going. They've been sort of feasting on the insides of this large creature, and the Doctor is left with this quandary of, does he allow these to continue, or does he wipe them out?
Okay.
And by that stage they've you know how the Macra are when they return in Gridlock, and they've started to, whereas most things evolve, they've unevolved or revolved, or whatever the phrase is. And this is part way through that process. Basically, eventually the Doctor's got there just at a point when they are ready, and they split out of this creature, and the War Doctor is forced to destroy them all.
Oh, okay.
Good
story. Yeah,
Inside. Cool. There we have it.
That's Who to Face this week, and that's the show this week.
It is the show this week. I hope you've enjoyed the show.
Yes.
What do we have on next week's show?
Next week is episode 155. And we are continuing, after a short break, we are continuing our Monster Analogy series, looking at the Sontarans.
Fantastic. That'll be exciting.
And we'll look a bit at what we think about Strax as well in that, and what we think about what they've done to the Sontarans.
Okay, I'll look forward to that discussion.
Yeah.
We'll also give you our full roundup of Ambassadors of Death, our full views on it.
Yeah, our second part of our review of Ambassadors of Death. There's more news, hopefully.
There is, and we will be having a quiz or question.
And we press the randomizer button.
Wowza!
Yes.
So lots of things to look forward for. I always look forward to pressing that magic randomizer.
I know, and it's a shame we didn't have it today.
It's the only downside when you get one of those juicy 7-8 parter type ones. You've got to wait till you can press that magic button again. But sorry, folks, no magic randomizer this week.
Sorry.
It shall return next week in all its glory.
Yes, we go back next week, and it's episode 155. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.